Welcome back to another episode of It's Not Just About the Money, talking about financial therapy, which is a pretty wide subject. I like to say there's two words in financial therapy. One is financial, and the other is therapy. And those are pretty broad areas. I thought it might be helpful today to talk a little bit about money scripts. Money scripts is a term that I coined with the Clonces back in, I don't know, 2007-ish, sometime around then, when uh, we were on a conference call talking, and as I remember it, Ted said, I think it was, there was another offer, Lynn Twist, I believe it was her, that talked about life scripts. And he says, why don't we call these beliefs that we have about money scripts? And it stuck, and it probably, of the work we've done, money scripts have been the most popular. Similar, if you're aware of George Kinder, who was the father of financial life planning, and he came up with an exercise called the 3 questions. And I won't spoil it for you because maybe someday we'll do a podcast on those. But that's really what he's known for, are those 3 questions. So money scripts. What are money scripts? They make a lot of sense. And it goes along with the idea, which you've possibly heard me say before, that every financial behavior makes perfect sense, no matter how illogical it is to you or other people, when we understand the underlying beliefs, which are the money scripts. So we're acting completely in sync with what we believe to be true, even if those actions are not in our best financial interest. So it's really important to find out, what do we believe? And that's not simple, because it's not something we think about. And in most cases, what we believe is pretty buried. So that's the first thing with what a money script is. It's an unconscious belief. In the work that we've done, the research we've done, typically the average person has 50 to 200 of these money scripts operating 24/7. And they touch everything that we do with money. And they're often formed early in life. And if you think about it, a young child has no filter. They have no reference to know if what mom and dad or a caregiver is telling them is true or not about money. A young child isn't going to go, Dad, that was a really whacked idea you had about money. That's not true at all. They're going to take that in. So the money scripts are written for us, just like an actor or actress receives a play, receives the script. It's written for them by somebody else. The somebody else that's writing our money scripts are typically our caregivers. So they'll tell us things about money, and we'll take that in. They'll not say things about money, and we take that in. They'll have actions and behaviors around money, and sometimes they'll not have an action or a reaction around money. All of this is information to that 3, 4, 5, 8, 10-year-old mind that's trying to figure out what is real around this thing called money. So we typically get these as very young folks. And we know it's typically during this period of time that things happen in life, that we have to make up stories as to why they're happening. Things happen to us that we develop coping behaviors around, coping mechanisms. And in many cases, there's parts of us that can get frozen into being that 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 8-year-old that really never develops. And that's where a lot of these money scripts lie. And it's so helpful when we take the time to go back and examine, where did this belief come from? How did it form? What did that little person inside of me think and believe at that time that might have served it okay then, but is not serving me as the 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old that I am today? So it's really important that we begin to examine these money beliefs. And as I suggested, that they're often based in some type of a wounding or a trauma. The first time that I ever heard anybody talk about trauma that was emotional trauma, I just was like, come on, get a grip. To me, trauma was physical and was really big stuff. And what I've learned in my several decades of hanging around a lot of mental health professionals is that trauma is not necessarily a physical or like just a huge, terrible event. It can be what appears to not even be an event. That's something that I wouldn't view from an adult state as being traumatic at all. But it was traumatic to that little person. One, for example, and there's unlimited examples, but maybe a 3-year-old, 4-year-old picks up a coin, a penny they find in the dirt and puts it in their mouth. And a parent comes rushing at them, take that dirty money out of your mouth. Don't you know you shouldn't do that? And I don't know, maybe they even, in my childhood, would have gotten a spanking for it. Who knows? But for that child, whoa, where did this come from? Wow, I've done something really bad. Oh, that money, dirty money. Money's bad. When I touch money, look what's going to happen. Now, that seems so illogical to us in our adult minds. But to that little person, that could form a lifetime of belief that a person could possibly not even identify, not even go, oh yeah, I remember when this has happened. That's when I decided money was bad and money was dirty. It's not that simple. We often don't even remember these things. So that's why we say it's based in trauma. And financial trauma can be, you can have a hugely one-time traumatic thing happen, like an accident or a death or something like that can be hugely impactful. You can also have a whole series of really minor traumas that if it just happened once, it wouldn't be a big thing at all. But it happens hundreds or thousands of times over and over. It's kind of like death by 1,000 cuts. And I believe they call that complex trauma. And that can actually be more damaging than the huge one event trauma. Because it becomes very hard to recognize because there's so many of these events and they were so supposedly small. Money scripts then are reinforced over and over and over, just like a good script. They're reinforced by our family system, by our caretakers. This is how it is. This is how it is. This is truth. This is the truth about money. Money is power. You've got to work hard for money. You don't deserve money. You do deserve money. I mean, all of the scripts that are out there are reinforced over and over and over and over in the system in which we came out of. And one thing that I have found, especially in my work in doing IFS informed financial therapy is that so many of these scripts are generational. We would call the IFS would call them legacy burdens. They're passed down and learned, and it's important for us to be able to identify those scripts as to where they came from, and that this is a family legacy. This just wasn't my mom or my dad didn't come up with this. They were actually taught this by their parents, and they got it from their parents' parents. So it's another feature, so to speak, of the money scripts. So money scripts keep us kind of limited. They keep us bound within something that we've called the financial comfort zone. But with those scripts, inherent in a money script is rigidity. So when you're learning your money scripts, anytime you have a statement that money is bad, always, the government always wastes my money, or never. Any of these strong words indicate a very strong money script. And part of what we're trying to do around money scripts is to build in flexibility. For example, you must work hard to earn money. Well, there's a lot of variations of that script. Can you work hard and earn money? Absolutely. And so the play is you work hard and then the money comes in. Cool. Life is good. What happens when you work hard and the money doesn't come in? That's when we start having the wrong script in the wrong play. Because we're working hard and, hey, wait a minute, the way this is supposed to go, money's supposed to come in, it doesn't come in. And so this is where pain starts in our life. Or how about this one? How about if you don't work and the money comes in? That's a disconnect, right? This is not supposed to, whoa, what's going on? I'm working, or I'm not working at all and money's coming in? I actually had a client once that came in and they were despondent and down, depressed. I said, what's wrong? They said, Dad died 6 months ago. Yeah. And I just had a hunch it wasn't about that. I said, yeah. So what's up? What's going on? Well, we just found out we inherited $5 million from Dad. We had no idea that he was worth anything. And they said, what's wrong with us? We're really depressed about this. And I thought, let's find out what your money scripts are. So we did. And the money scripts that both of them held were all around money that isn't earned is not worth having. And how many times have you heard of somebody, maybe you yourself have inherited some money and within a few years, 5 years or so, it's gone? Well, in that case, we're probably bound by our money scripts, and we're oftentimes trying to get back to what's familiar, and it's very uncomfortable having this money because of the money scripts. And if one of the scripts was money that isn't earned isn't worth having, that's very rigid, and there's no flexibility around that. So an idea of building flexibility would be like, well, sometimes I can work hard and the money comes in, but sometimes it doesn't come in. And sometimes I don't work at all and the money comes in, and other times I don't work and there's no money. Okay, that is a flexible belief, and there's going to be a whole lot less issues in our lives caused by money scripts that have flexibility. So that's kind of the basis of what money scripts are. There's millions of money scripts, like more money is going to make things better. Money's bad. I don't deserve money. I do deserve money. There will never be enough money. There will always be enough money. Money is unimportant. Money will give my life meaning. it's not nice or even necessary to talk about money. If you're good, the universe will supply. They just go on and on and on and on. And one thing I want to bring out is it's very common to have conflicting money scripts. So there's the part of you that will go, oh, there's never going to be enough money. And then there's another part that will shame that part of you and go, come on, there's always going to be enough money. So if you discover that within yourself, it's not uncommon to have these conflicting money scripts. Now, how do you find out what your money scripts are? There's something called the KMSI-R, the Klontz Money Script Inventory, and the -R is for revised. It's a clinically tested, I think there's 32, 38 questions in this. It's on one page. You can take it. It'll take you all of 10 minutes to take, and then you can grade that and find out the basic categories of where your money scripts fall. There's a lot of ways to get money scripts out. We have a number of exercises like in Facilitating Financial Health, also in the Financial Wisdom of Ebenezer Scrooge, we have some money script exercises. So there's a number of ways to find out what is it that I believe about money. The easiest way is to get a big list of words. I used to have a list of, I don't know, 100 different words, maybe more. And ask yourself, get into a place where you're feeling fairly encumbered, and do a stream of consciousness exercise. And so you can ask yourself this question: what do I feel about money? And maybe the first word is taxes. Maybe the second word you have is government or whatever. But what do I feel about money and taxes? Taxes are evil. You write that down. The government doesn't deserve my money. Taxes help make life better. I mean, whatever the first thing that comes up, and it's really important not to censor yourself. Really important. You're not going to show this to anybody. This is for you. We're really trying to get at what the limbic system, your emotional mind, thinks about money, because that is the mind that's in control. Research shows between 80 and 100% of all financial decisions are emotional. I like to say 90%. So by emotional, they are, there's not a lot of thinking going on. There's not a lot of cerebral cortex involved. So we want to find out what these split decisions are that we've formed around money. So you just do that with as many different words as you can think of, and you'll get between, say, 50 and 200 thoughts, feelings, and beliefs about money. You can also take the KSMI-R. I believe you can Google that. I'm trying to think if it's anywhere on my site. Maybe I can put a link somewhere for that. So you take this, and especially the KMSI-R is going to give you 4 categories that your money scripts are probably going to fall into. And those 4 categories are money avoidance, money worship, money status, and money vigilance. Let's take the first one, money avoidance. This is kind of the thought that money is bad. Okay, money avoidance scripts are really based on a belief that money's bad, it's anxiety provoking, rich people are greedy, and a lot of money avoiders will not really believe that they deserve money. And there's a lot of research around what often is somewhat normal with a money avoider. They often have lower levels of education, income, and net worth. They're often younger. They often have various disorders like compulsive buying, hoarding, financial enabling, a number of things. And interesting enough that there's professions that tend to um, uh, be found in various money categories. And mental health professionals are largely in the money avoidant category. It's really, really, really common. Then the next one is money worship, and that is more money is going to make things better, right? Things would be better if I had more money. More money is going to make me happier. More money will solve all my problems. And people that have these scripts also tend to have lower educational levels, lower income, lower net worth. They tend to have higher levels of revolving credit. They also can have compulsive buying, hoarding disorders. They can be workaholics. And they can also people that tend to financially enable their kids or be financially dependent on somebody else can tend to fall into this group. The third one, money status, these are folks that equate net worth with their self-worth. So they will include beliefs like people are only as successful as the amount of money that I earn. If something isn't considered the best, then it's not worth buying. Or, of course, my self-worth equals my net worth. Again, we can find a lot of different disorders in this. Typically, a person like this has more of a chance of being raised in a lower socioeconomic class. And finally, money vigilance. And this represents a combination of being real vigilant around money and having discretion around money. They would believe that you shouldn't tell other people how much money you make or how much money you have. They would have the money script of money should be saved, not spent. They would believe that if they didn't have a emergency fund, they'd be an emotional wreck. And we'll find folks that fall into this particular category have more revolving card debt. They'll have compulsive buying disorder, gambling disorder. They'll be more apt to have financial infidelity. And the one thing you might say, well, this really sounds like something that is good, being money vigilant. And while money vigilant people do tend to have higher incomes or higher net worth, they also tend to have a ton of anxiety. So there's not one of these that's better than another. What we want is to have balance and freedom and flexibility in our money scripts. So that's just a little bit on money scripts. What can come from a money script are money disorders. And maybe this is a good place to kind of leave this, and we can do another session on the money disorders. So, okay, well, thanks so much for joining me, and I look forward to being with you on another session.